What's good, everybody? It's me, Tim. Last night was an amazing UFC card, okay? If you were living under a rock, it was TJ Dillashaw versus Dominick Cruz. It was for the bantamweight title of the UFC. And I have to say, honestly, they'll be watching this fight for many years to come. I was thoroughly impressed by both guys. As a student of the martial arts and a huge mixed martial arts fan, I look at both these guys' fights all the time. I've studied their techniques, I've studied their movements, and I think both of them have helped to revolutionize the art of full contact fighting. I'm going to just go over a little bit on what I thought about the actual matchup and then talk a little bit about how I feel about Dominick Cruz coming back and what have you. But first, the fight itself, I had it scored 3-2 Dominick Cruz. A lot of people may disagree with that. Some people may say TJ Dillashaw won 3-2, or like I think one of the judges had it like 49-46 for TJ Dillashaw. But honestly, I felt that Dominick Cruz, dominated early. He uses his game. He just did his game. He did the Dominick Cruz style, the elusive, pick you apart from the outside, move, you can't hit me, I'm going to hit you way more than you can hit me style. I noticed that it frustrated TJ Dillashaw, and I was really impressed by that, especially considering that he has so many lower extremity issues and lower extremity injuries. I mean, the man has had several ACL surgeries. He's had a torn groin, and during the fight, he had plantar fasciitis and a tendon in his foot tore or something like that. And for somebody with his style, that's a huge hindrance. And the fact that he was able to grind it out, be a dog out there, and win a 5-round decision against a guy that many said was better than him and had taken his throne, and he comes back from a huge layoff and, for the most part, the first 3 rounds, dominated the fight. Okay? I that's like super impressive. So I had it 3-2. If you disagree, please let me know. Write down in the comments below. But I'll argue till I'm blue in the face that Dominick Cruz won rounds 1 through 3. Of course, TJ Dillashaw, being the true champion that he was, he came back strong in the 4th and the 5th. He bloodied Dom. I'd never seen that really before in my life. The second time he fought Uriah Faber, he got hit a few times and he got dropped a couple times, but not to the extent that he did against TJ Dillashaw. But you can argue as well that, him hurting his foot in the 5th round really made it easier for TJ Dillashaw to really attack. But nonetheless, I had it 3-2, and the judges said it, so, we can complain all day if you want, but the bottom line is Dom Cruz has the belt. Well, let me just go on to, how I feel about Dom Cruz's comeback. I, for one, as somebody who came back from a serious injury, I have a huge respect for Dominick Cruz. Whether he won or lost last night, you got to hand it to the man. He came from rock bottom, not once, not twice, but I think 3 or 4 times, okay? I'll tell you my personal story. A couple years ago, I was training. I was in the middle of the jiu-jitsu season. It was the night before we were supposed to travel out to Brazil to compete in the Brazilian Nationals. And I was training with one of my teammates, and I fell down on their knee going for a takedown, and my colon ruptured. So I had internal bleeding. If I went on the flight, I could have died. If I had gotten surgery that night, I would have probably died. 90% chance I would have bled out. And I was out of the game for a while. I have a gnarly scar to show for it. And, it was a very, traumatic experience for me. For any athlete to have their livelihood or their passion almost taken away from you is something that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And Dominick Cruz went through that 3 times. And he didn't quit. He grinded it out. He actually had a comeback. And he took out, at the time, a top 5 guy easily in about a minute. Then he was injured again. And he came back and he fought one of the top guys, pound for pound. The guy who studied his style for years, came up and took his throne from him, and then he took the crown back. And I don't think that's one of the best comeback stories in MMA. I don't think it's one of the best in combat sports. I think it's one of the best comeback stories in sports history. All right, if you look throughout the annals of history, I don't see anything topping that. I mean, you could argue maybe Lance Armstrong coming back from cancer and winning, but I mean, hey, he did steroids. I don't think Tom Cruise is on steroids. Like, and at the end of the day, like, this dude's riding a bike. Okay, I don't see people getting hit by their bike. Tom Cruise was dodging punches, and he's going out there, and it's a grind just to get through a training camp. He said he had a 12-week training camp, and he came back and he won the whole thing. So I have to say, Tom Cruise is the man. He's a legend. And I'll put him number 2, pound for pound, all time, behind Jon Jones, who I think is going to get the belt back in probably more devastating fashion than Tom Cruise did. But that's how I feel about the last fight last night. If you have any opinions, differing or agreeing with me, just let me know in the comment section below, and have a great day.